Call the January 21st Emmaus Borough Council meeting to order. Please rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Personal appeals, part 1. Anyone with a personal appeal, please step forward, sign in, state your name and address for the record. You get 5 minutes.
Jack Nonamaker, 303 Franklin Street in the Borough. I just want to address a couple things that I brought up back in December at the meeting that you had with in reference to the fire department, which was a pretty busy night for you guys, I'm sure. First of all, I would personally like to thank the members of the Borough Council for all the hard work that they continually do in the borough. I'm sure that your jobs go unappreciated by many people, and they don't always understand why decisions are made about certain things. I would like to address the baseball field at Community Park again. It was my understanding that some of the comments I made were taken out of context in the fact that I was no longer in favor of the improvements to the Borough Park baseball field, which was totally incorrect. I feel that the original plans for that baseball field were an excellent idea. I think, unfortunately, because of the economy, it made it harder to push that project through the way it was originally intended to. However, I feel that without causing a lot of repercussions from traffic and other things, that the project actually could have stimulated the economy in the borough, which in the long run would have helped everyone meet budgets. But that's hindsight now, because the project was downgraded. The point that I was trying to make at that meeting was that I don't know who was officially in charge of that project, but the field, from what I understand, is owned by the borough because it's the borough park. And the EYA had members, or either the board, that were working with the borough to improve the field. But what I would like to ask the borough is that, was there a proposal from the EYA as to how the field was being improved in reference to a grass infield for 80-foot bases instead of 90-foot bases, which is a regulation baseball field? Could anyone answer that question?
I mean, we were kept kind of in the loop of things. I mean, I don't know if there were actual plans that said exactly where they would be. Do you?
There were drawings. I mean, I saw drawings. I was down at Community Park with Billy Butler when we were talking about where the grass was going to go and where it was. I played baseball, and I never even thought about the difference between 80-foot grass and 90-foot grass. Like, it never even dawned on me that it would be any different in the long run.
Than a regular field?
Never. And if it was, I don't think they tried to keep it a secret. Let me say it that way. but it never dawned on me that it would be different than going to the Iron Pigs field. I mean, Billy Butler ran the project, and obviously he didn't see it as a problem, and I don't think I think EYA really believed they were doing what was best so more people could use the field because of all the struggles we went through of saying this is special interest. And, you know, when we proposed it the first time, the big struggle was, well, only a few people are going to get to use this field. So I really think they felt they were doing the best job possible by allowing more people to use the field. And now that you say it, yes, I understand it's different. Will it matter? I don't know. You know, and if at the end of this year we say, boy, that was really a dumb mistake, we add 10 feet of sod and we have 90 feet of grass in there. You may have to run irrigation lines a little longer to make it full cover, but you know, I think it's you know, it is what it is. They did it for us, and it was really nice that they invested as much time and money into it as they did. So my idea is we take it as something good, and hopefully it turns out to be something good.
Well, am I to take that then that there won't be any changes to the field?
Unless EYA says we want to make a change to this. I mean, I don't personally see the need for it yet. I haven't seen it played on yet.
Well, first of all, my understanding, which I don't have real proof to it because I wasn't at any of the EYA meetings, but I had heard through one of the board members of the EYA that it was never even voted on to make it an 80-foot infield, and that certain individuals took it upon themselves to make those decisions. And I also understand that Jeff Clapper was there with Bill Butler, you said? I don't know who he is, but I understand he was from the Irons.
He's the groundskeeper for the Iron Pigs.
Right, and he was overseeing the project. But my understanding was that Jeff Clapper was at the field with another individual who I don't know who that was, and they were stating that it didn't look right with where they were putting the grass, and someone that was working on the project had said, no, this is the way it is, this is correct, or whatever. So I still don't understand if they wanted to make it an 80-foot grass infield so that that age group could play in that field, because they had nowhere else to play except for one other field, from what I understand, which is at the Russ field, and that's why they made it for them to be able to play on this field. If the youth that play 90-foot baseball, which is a regular baseball field, not a little league field, only have one field to play on also, then why should they be giving up the opportunity to play on a nice field with 90-foot grass infield on it? And the kids that play on 80-foot bases play on their one field. But now the kids that have 80-foot bases, they get to play on Russ, and they get to play at Community Park. And then the kids that play majors, Junior Legion, Connie Mack, and Legion baseball get to play on an 80-foot base because they don't have any field that's specifically designated for their type of baseball.
Well, they'll still play 90-foot bases. They just won't have the same amount of grass, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Pepe wants to make a comment.
No, that's absolutely right. There's going to be an 80-foot base path and a 90-foot base path. And when the kids that are playing on the 90-foot base path are playing, the 80-foot base paths will be capped. Quite honestly, the difference is 10 feet of sod. That's what we're talking about here. That's the difference. And to be honest with you, that isn't going to make that much of an impact as to whether or not they can play baseball there, because the bottom line is pitching mound 60 feet 6 inches, they still got to be able to hit the curveball. Whether they're playing at 80 feet or 90 feet, they're still going to play the game of baseball.
Well, I think you're missing the whole point of what I'm trying to say, but if you're leaving it the same way, then that's the way you see it. I don't know that I've ever seen a Legion or Junior Legion team that plays 90-foot bases, the Iron Pigs, AAA baseball, pro baseball, whatever, play with a turf or grass infield set up for 80-foot bases. That is not correct, and I think, like I said before, it's a shame that it was done. I'm not saying that people didn't put a lot of hard work into getting the project done and stuff, but I think certain individuals took it upon themselves to decide that they were putting 80-foot bases in. So I'm asking again, if anyone here on the board knew that it was going to be an 80-foot grass infield, and no one has answered the question yet.
Mr. Nonamaker's time is up. Does anybody want to extend his time? Motion by Mr. Barrett. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Brown. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes. Mr. Legberg.
I think it's a moot point because we all saw the plans. We want that field to be as versatile as possible because why do you want to narrow it down to how many kids can play on that field when you have that much money being put in there by the EYA, which is approximately $50,000, correct? 40,000, 50?
Yeah, it's 25 in cash, and then they had 30 in donations.
Including the dugouts, which were 10, 15,000?
The dugout for, I think, 21,000.
21,000. So when you have that much money donated, and the EYA is the organization that's going to be using it, I want it to be as versatile as possible. And like Brian said, if it doesn't work out, we add another 10 feet aside. But I don't think there's anyone on council that has an intention of changing that. So I would like to move forward if possible. But I do want to just, Mr. Nonamaker, you also appealed about painting lines. I said I would take it to my committee. I took it to my committee, and it's going to be painted next time they paint in the borough sometime. So
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions too, but I knew I was running out of time.
I said it at the last meeting, but you weren't here.
And just for council's clarification, the 80-foot base path, Little League International, although we're not affiliated with Little League International just passed a new set of leagues 2 years ago for international competition with the 80-foot base paths. So it is something it's a transitional league. It's for the kids who, are 12, 13 years old, moving into that bigger league. It's designed to be a transitional step for them to play at the next level. That's why they do the 80-foot base pass rather than the 90-foot.
I was pretty involved. I was down there for the meetings. I was pretty involved with the process, talking to them, and I didn't feel like they pulled one over on me. I just didn't. I think if I didn't know that it was made 80 feet, it's my own fault for not studying the plans well enough. And I had the plans. I looked at them, and I don't have a problem with it either. It's 80 feet more grass than we had, and that we had money to have. So, if it was 30 feet of grass right now, I'd take it because we couldn't afford to do any of it. So, hopefully it works. If it doesn't, though, Mr. Nonamaker, if I go to a lot of the baseball games, if in the Legion season we see this isn't working, this isn't safe, there's something wrong here, then I think we'll talk about adding that 10 feet aside. But I think we should try it and figure it out, and if it's wrong, we'll fix it.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else with a personal appeal? Hearing none. Community minute. Any member of council have an item that they'd like to bring forward for community minute? Dr. Waddell?
Just reiterate, keep seeing some of the information being put out about snow class coming up for February 1 and 2. It's going to be a great event. On Sunday, we put up some of the cutout letters that Angela Fadley created through some of the schools. I think there were 4 or 5 different schools that created that series of letters that's on the triangle right now. More information will come out. All council members will attend. Friday night's the big night. There's also activities on Saturday. It's going to be a great time. Mr. Shubs has been very involved in this part of it, and it's going to be a really, really nice evening. Hopefully everybody will be there.
Good, thank you. Special presentations, we have nothing this evening. The reading of the minutes, in your binder are the minutes from the January 7th council meeting. Is there a motion to dispense with the formal reading of those minutes? Motion by Mr. Levenberg. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Brown. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes. Additions or corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt the minutes as drafted? Motion by Mr. Brown. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Levenberg. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes. 6 ayes? You're abstaining?
Okay.
For the record, Dr. Liddell was abstained. He was absent. If you could please put that in writing. Forgot about that. Decision on bids. We have no bids this evening. Is that correct, Mr. Pepe? You remember? This brings us to communications. First letter in your binder comes from Peter Kapustiak, the president of Emmaus Kiwanis, and he is the chairman of the Easter egg hunt. He is asking to use the outfield of the Legion baseball field at Community Park for the Kiwanis annual Easter egg hunt, which is going to be held Saturday, March 30th, from 12 noon to 2 p.m. And the actual egg hunt starts at 1 p.m. This event will be rain or shine. We normally just have staff handle these unless anyone sees differently.
Every year for a long time.
Every year. We'll have staff handle that one. Stephen Zakos, we did receive his letter of resignation from the Planning Commission, effective at the end of February of 2013. Does anyone want to make a motion to accept his resignation effective that date? There's a motion by Dr. Liddell. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Lavenberg. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes. If we could send him a letter, Mr. Pepe. Next letter is from Dick Gerhardt. He is the chairman of the Emmaus General Authority. Just informing us that they had their reorganization meeting on January 7th. And it's a list of the individuals that were elected to different positions. That's just for informational purposes at this point. Next item in your binder is the community event information sheet. I believe this is coming from Vicki Gruber in reference to the 2013 Community Day out at Community Park. It is scheduled for July 20th from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I will refer this to the Parks and Recreation Committee. Mr. Barrett. The next letter comes from John Larson. He is the head coach from the Emmaus Aquatic Club, and he is asking to rent the Emmaus Community Park pool, as they have for the past 29 years. Agreement to allow us to use the pool from the earliest date that the pool opens allows for approximately till August 20th. I will refer this to your committee, Mr. Barrett, to Parks and Rec, for review. Borough Engineers report. Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody else have any communications? I believe there's a letter on our desk this evening. Janae Holtsafer would like to be reappointed to the Special Entertainment Commission. Her term expires at the end of June, so Mr. Barrett, this will be on your agenda.
I do have one item too.
Okay. No, that's all I have. So if any member of council has an item under communications, Mr. Barrett?
I have, it's just a resubmission of Jeff McElhaney's application to the Parks and Rec Commission.
Oh, okay.
He had submitted, if you remember, he submitted back in sometime in 2011, but it wasn't until we changed the Parks and Rec rules and some of the other commissions that made him eligible for the position. So we'll discuss this at the next meeting. I don't even know that it's necessary to interview. It was a 3-0 vote at that time. I mean, we had made the motion. We can review it if you prefer, or we can bring it up now. It was a 3-0 vote at the time. He was more than qualified. If I remember correctly, he has a degree in...
He has a business here in town, but he lives outside of the borough.
That's correct. But does he have a degree in like Parks and Rec? Okay. Yeah, he was more than qualified.
He had experience though, and he has a business right across the bridge. Young guy, very, very wants to be involved in community service.
Yeah,
Do you have any idea what his term would be?
It would be replacing Shelley Steiner.
There's a couple.
There's more than one vacancy?
I think there's 2 vacancies.
There's 2 vacancies. I mean, if you prefer, we take it back to the committee and talk about it again, but I don't see anything.
No need.
We have one expiring 5/1/14 and one expiring 5/1/15.
Let's make it
Pick the term you wish. If you want to make
Jeff
that
will
a
welcome you
motion.
to 2015. So I will make a motion to appoint Jeff McElhaney to the Parks and Rec Commission, with term expiring 5/1/15. As I mentioned, it was a 3-0 vote back in probably January of 2012.
All right, is there a second? Second by Mr. Lavenberg. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes. Anyone else have anything for communication? Mr. Pepe, do you have anything?
No, I would just ask if I could get a copy of that, please.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything for communication? Okay. Borough Engineers Report, we have no engineer this evening. Solicitors Report, Attorney Dillon.
Very brief, I did a supplementary memo on some fire department issues. I urge you, if you have the time to read it and look at the materials that are in the manager's office on it. Tom and I have been working with the manager and Mr. Clapper trying to come up with the correct signs for your truck ordinance.
Yes.
And I just recently started to work, in fact today, because I found out about it, of a claim for some Medicare reimbursement payments to retired police. And I will do a memo on that. I've got extra information from Mr. Duffy tonight that I needed to work on.
Okay,
That's all I have.
thank you. Unfinished business, part 1. We have nothing on the agenda. There's nothing under new business. Unfinished business, part 2. We have nothing. Items not on the agenda subject to Rule 9. Any member of the council have an item that they wish to bring forward? Mayor's report, Mr. Mayor. You have nothing either. All right. Committee reports. Public Works, Mr. Lavenberg.
Yes, our next committee meeting is February 7th here in council chambers at 3 p.m. Parks.
Thank you. Health, Sanitation, and Conservation, Mr. Shipstead.
Thank you. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 28th in council chambers at 5 p.m. I have nothing to report, just progress.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Mr. Barrett.
We have, I'll break it down into 2 motions. It's dealing with one item that requires official action. The first is to approve the use of the triangle for the Snow Blast Festival on February 1st, 2013, from 3 o'clock until 10 o'clock. It was a 3-0 vote from the Parks and Rec Committee.
Can you place it in a form of a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Shipstead. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes.
And the second piece of that is to permit the Main Street Partners to sell alcohol at the event. They have done this over the last few years. It was a 2-to-1 vote. Place it in the form of a motion.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Lavenberg. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 6 ayes. Those opposed? Mr. Holtaker is opposed.
And just a few quick updates. We had also met with Kate Heflin, who had sent us a letter about 2 meetings ago in regards to a service project that her Brownie Troop is interested in doing. And they are calling it their Secret Garden Project. And what they'll be doing is constructing 15 by 15 inch gardens, not 15 by 15 foot gardens. These little gardens that they want to put around Community Park and kind of have it as a scavenger hunt where they can, you have to try and find all of them. They'll be all around the park. They'll be working on that once it starts to get warmer. But I told them to come to the May 25th event, which I talked about a little bit at our last meeting, which is kind of a kickoff to the beginning of summer, beginning of the pool season, opening up the park, all of those things. I met with the Parks and, the Special Entertainment Commission, who is in a lot of ways running that May 25th event, and they're planning on hosting a 5K race, so I met with them to review some of those things, and that'll be a great way for them to raise some funds, but it'll also be just a really nice element to the whole entire event. It'll be very family oriented, and if we get to see a lot of families that are out there to kind of start off summer, start off the pool season, I think it'll be a really nice beginning of the pool season. So I have no other
items that require official action, progress.
Thank you. Which brings us to public safety. There's a couple items that we need to take official action on this evening. The first being in your binder, you will find two applications, one from Michael Arndt and the other one from Cody Sabaski for firefighters. Mr. Pepe did interview both of these individuals this afternoon, and he is recommending that they both be appointed contingent upon the doctor's physical, that they be appointed to the fire department as members. So if anybody would like to make a motion to that effect. Motion by Mr. Brown, is there a second? Second by Mr. Barrett. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes. Also in your binder under letter J, I believe it is, there is a memo from Chief Rice asking that Paul Shankweiler be appointed as a driver/operator of truck 711 and 712. He has completed all the required driver training and operating training that he needs to take in order to become a driver. So he's asking that we do appoint this individual to drive those 2 units. So we would need a motion. Motion by Mr. Brown, is there a second? Second by Mr. Holtzapper. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes. Those are the items that we needed for official action. This evening the committee did interview William Huber to serve on the Civil Service Commission. Just to give you an update, the Civil Service Commission has in fact adopted their new rules and regulations, which have now been sent to the union. Once the union reviews them and they're okay with it, it will come to council for council to officially adopt. Once we do that, we can then come up with the alternate position that we now need to have with that commission. So since Mr. Train Gooch wants to serve in the alternate position, he will then step down to the alternate and Mr. Huber will fill his vacancy as a regular position. So we already have that in the works, and as soon as we can approve those rules and regulations, we'll get that moving. Other than that, we had some other discussions, but nothing really to report on. Budget and Finance will be talking about the dispatch answering service charges tomorrow afternoon at our Budget and Finance Committee meeting. We did meet with Mr. Tapler to see if there was some kind of contract. He indicated that there was a contract that we had, and he could not provide us with a contract, so we will be discussing that a little bit further at Budget and Finance. Other than that, I believe that was all, and the committee will report progress, unless anyone has. Dr. Widow.
I'm out of town for a little bit, because I'm actually up a lot of the boom on something. Can you give an idea where we are with the fire department, and getting back to public safety?
Yeah.
And discussions, negotiations, whatever it was, about the pay on call and so on?
Right. Mr. Pepe will be scheduling a meeting with the officers of the fire department and the committee, and as soon as we can get that scheduled, we will start those meetings.
Okay.
So we can figure out which direction we're going to go. Mr. Brown?
Yeah, kind of follow up with Dr. Winnell. I will be attending the chief officers meeting since I've been appointed the liaison between the fire department and council to help communications go along there between both entities. That meeting is going to happen January 27th, Dr. Winnell, which is this Sunday at 7 p.m. So I'll have some information as well to pass along to public safety.
I believe those are the last Sunday of the month, is that
Yes.
correct? That's when they're scheduled?
There's 2 meetings. There's a chief's officers meeting, and there's also a regular officers meeting
Oh, okay.
as well. There's 2.
Are you going to be attending both?
I believe so, if you want me to.
Yes, please.
Yes, I will be doing that.
Thank you. Unless you'd rather go, Mr. Holtzapper.
Oh, no, thank you.
I've got my afternoon there.
Other than that, our next meeting is February 14th. I'll report progress. General Administration, Dr. Bordeaux.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe on my agenda this evening, we have a request for appointment of 2 individuals. I apologize, I was at the Salem University for a meeting and finally couldn't make it back. Report on the interviews, how did it go?
Mr. Lavenberry and myself both interviewed Linda, and she's very interested. She has a flexible schedule. She's a business owner herself, which she felt was a great asset in understanding how things work, but it also left her with a schedule that was fairly open because I believe they meet at noon. I don't remember what the day is, but on a Tuesday, so it was kind of an awkward schedule for some, and she said that would work for her. So it was a 2-0 vote to recommend her to fill the vacancy expiring at the end of this year. Was it
1/1/14? Can you place that in form of a motion?
I will place that in form of a motion.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Ladenburg. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes.
Second one, Mr. Dickerson.
Yes. We had an interview with Mr. Nicholson in regard to his interest in the zoning hearing board. He again has been in the, he is here today also. The construction industry generically, is that a good way to describe it? So he has experience in attending zoning hearing board, not here, but in other municipalities, so he had some good understanding there. He was also very eager to learn more about it, which is always an asset. It was a 2-0 vote to recommend Don Nickerson to the zoning hearing board alternate position with a term expiring, Shane, can you refresh?
1/1/15. 2015.
Yes. So I'll place that in the form of a motion.
And is there a second? Second by Mr. Ladenburg. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes.
Thank you for carrying on the interviews in my absence. I really appreciate it. Sure. And congratulations to Rose and Mr. Anderson. Thank you. Welcome aboard. I appreciate your service. Thank you. I don't have anything else to report or to act on this evening, so our next meeting is this Wednesday, January 23rd at 9 a.m. And I'll report progress.
Thank you. Budget and Finance, Mr. Holzapfel.
Thank you, Madam President. I only have one item this evening. That would be letter N, bill list. And I'll read the resolution. Resolution 2013-3, resolved by Borough Council to authorize payment of the January 21, 2013 bill list as follows. Bill list, $214,045.76. Payroll number 1, $111,455.70. Payroll taxes, $38,693.84, for a total of $364,195.30. Done this 21st of January 2013. And I'll make that into the form of a motion.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Shipston. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 7 ayes.
I believe that's all I have. We'll meet again tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. Progress.
Thank you. Community Relations Planning and Development, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam President. Nothing for official action for tonight, but we will be having our first 2013 meeting this January 24th at 4:15 here in Council Chambers. Report progress.
Thank you. Junior Council members report, Mr. Hobson.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to report that students are now taking midterm exams, and another thing on the agenda is the Mr. Emmaus competition that I reminded you guys about that earlier. It's coming up pretty soon, so it's January 30th at 7 p.m. At the auditorium, so we'd like everyone to come out and see that. Also, I'd like everyone to come support the Emmaus wrestling team in their last match of the season. It's on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. and they face off Dira. The middle school is looking to improve on their 11-1 record, and the high school is looking for their 10th win. So it'd be nice if everyone came out and watched that last meeting, right? Meeting? Progress, please.
Thank you. Which brings us to Personal Appeals Part 2. Anyone with personal appeal, please step forward, sign in, state your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes. And hearing none. All the managers report, Mr. Tappy.
Letter O in your binders is the significant revenue and expense items for the first half of January. If you have any questions on that, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, progress.
Anyone have any questions? All right, under President's business, I do need an executive session to discuss a personnel matter. I do not anticipate any action when we return. So we will be in recess, and I can't, off at 7:35?
7:35.
We're in recess at 7:35.